What's good, everybody? Man, it's fight week. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I'll be in Vegas. I'm leaving out Friday morning, headed down there to get to this Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. But before that fight get here, we also got Stephen Foden and Monster Inoue. I'm about to have Mr. Greg Hackett in here in just a second. You know what I'm saying? To discuss boxing with him. I see my guy just stepped in the building. What's up to my guy, Mr. BVO Boxing? You know what I'm saying? Always glad to see you, my brother. Let me see what's thing. Let me get this together, y'all. Y'all know I'm an old man, so sometimes I'm a little slow with this. Should be in it. What's good, my brother?
What's up with you? How you feeling?
Man, feeling good like you tired, man. I'm a little tired myself.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep up all
Oh,
night.
yeah.
What's up?
Was you, man? I woke up early this morning, but, man, it's always an honor to have you, brother. I want to talk about, man, first I want to ask you something about, we got this upcoming fight with Stephen Foden and Monster Inoue. And I know that you do a lot of hand wraps. I'm sure that you wrap a lot of hands and stuff. So is there anything to be concerned about the way Inoue has been wrapping his hands?
I mean, in the States, a lot of times when you rapping, they shit. Every time I've been somewhere rapping, it's been Vegas, it's been California, it's been New York, it's been Atlantic City, New Jersey, it's been DMV area. They always say no stacking, no stacking. So stacking is when you apply the tape first to the skin, and then you put gauze on there, and then you put more tape on there. So what happens is it creates like a cast when you sweating. When the sweat hit
Right,
it, harden up. So I mean, of course, it's something to be concerned about because it's something that they tell us we can't do. You know what I mean?
right.
But then he do it every time. So I don't know. But I
Mm.
one thing about Cool Boy though, he not worried about that. That's just a concern coming from the coaches. Should be
Right,
because you know what I mean they looking after his well being. You know what I mean his health. But him as a fighter, I could tell you he don't care. You know what I mean?
right.
He don't care
Definitely.
about that.
Definitely. I think, what I'm saying, like you said, Kubo, I've seen people talking about he was looking for a way out. Nobody goes all the way to Japan to look for a way out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The man, he's going over there to win. But another question I have, the thing that scares me with this fight is I'm pulling for Cool Boy. And I want him to win. I believe he's gonna win. But do you think he can get a first shake or a decision over in Japan? Or do you think he needs a knockout?
I mean the truth is we know anything close, he not getting it. So he gonna have to beat the shit out of him. He gonna have to stop him or just beat him up real bad. You know what I mean? So we know how it go. You know what I mean? Plus in Japan they're a little pissed off with us anyway because Floyd went over there and beat a couple of their fighters up. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, I thought Cool Boy, man. He looked focused to me. Look like he ready to go. I just hate the time of the fight, man. It's gonna be like what, 4 in the morning
Yeah.
here in the
Like
U.S.
4:30 they're gonna start the show.
Oh, okay. One thing about it, I'm getting off work at 2 in the morning, so I'm just gonna stay on up and watch it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I ain't even gonna go to sleep, man. I ain't even gonna go to sleep. But we got the big fight coming up this week. Earl Spence turns Crawford. I seen you said you ain't changing your pick. You got Crawford. Say I got Spence. For my reasons, and I've listened to your reasons. But as the fight goes closer, a lot of people are concerned about Earl Spence's weight. You know what I'm saying Earl Spence has never missed weight. He's always been a real professional when it comes to making weight. Do you think that'll play have an effect on this fight? Have you checked out Earl Spence? Do you think he's over? I mean, it looks like he's a little heavy. What do you think?
When they was working out the other day, he did look big, but then you know what I mean you gotta think about the time he got to make the weight. He still got another 5 days. You know what I mean? Include today, it'll be 5 days because they weigh in Friday. So I don't think he's gonna have problem making the weight. I don't think that's gonna be an issue. You know what I mean? I think the issue for himself gonna be rehydrating and making sure that he feel good. the next day. You know what I mean? Because I think just like Devin Haney been making 135 his entire career, you know what I mean?
Right.
So has Earl Spence. Earl Spence been making 147 his entire career. And it is time for him to move up because he's getting older. So, you know what I mean? I just want to see how he, react off it, which I think he'll be okay because at this level, they're going to do everything they got to do to make sure you're okay. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's not
Def-
like, and it's not like he's not a professional. He never missed weight or nothing like that. So I ain't worried about Earl Smith, like, far as him making the weight and, you know what I mean, being okay the next day.
right. Definitely. I definitely don't think that's gonna be an issue. You know what I'm saying? They both look good to me. Just watching them in the media workouts and stuff, looks like both guys are prepared and ready to go. I think it's gonna be, man, a great fight. I think we're gonna probably. I see us having at least two fights. Maybe this fight at 147, and the next one probably at 154.
Mm-hmm.
With these guys, they really don't need the belts. People are gonna watch regardless. I don't think what I'm saying, it's not even about the belts with them. It's just the best fighting the best. Do you think this fight will determine who's the pound for pound number one?
I think out of these last, I mean, this out of this week, I think, you know what I mean, these two fights with Inoue and Fulton, and then with Crawford and Spence, one of these guys should definitely be the number one guy. You know what I mean, in the game right now, because boxing, the way it's been, the guys who were number one, they ain't been that active. You know what I mean? And Canelo hasn't been giving us the fights that that we want to really call him number one in the game. You know what I mean? To be honest.
Right.
So I think you do have to give it to one of the guys out of this fight.
Yeah, you definitely right about that. Now with just like people say there's a difference in you can see the difference between Spence and Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it looks like he's a
On
lot
the phone.
smaller
Go
than
ahead, my bad.
Fulton. Could you see the size difference between Fulton and anyway? Do you think that's gonna play a factor?
I think all right. So I think what anyway gonna have to get used to is being in there with somebody who's bigger and just as strong as himself.
Right.
I think what Fulton gonna have to get used to is being in there with somebody that's smaller and quicker. You know what I mean?
Right.
With
Definitely. Definitely.
with Earl and Bud, I think Bud gonna have to get used to somebody trying to force themselves on them. You know what I mean? Who really is strong. You know what I mean? I think Earl gonna have to get used to somebody who move but can hurt you while they're moving. You know what I mean? He could. We seen Terrence Crawford hurt people stepping back, stepping forward, stepping side to side. You know what I mean? He
Mm.
could he could hurt you anywhere in the ring. So I think it's concerns on all sides in this fight, in these fights,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a lot of questions gonna be answered. That's for sure.
for
Man,
sure.
I've been watching Jamel Charlo. He looks like he's really taking this fight with Canelo serious.
Yeah.
He's been doing this thing. But to me, do you think Canelo is kind of sleeping on Jamel Charlo? Seems like to me that I've seen him playing golf. I've seen him doing other stuff. Uh, how do you feel? Do you think he realizes what type of risk Jamel Charlo really is?
I mean, one thing Canelo know is the same thing that Floyd Mayweather knew when he fought Canelo, and that's not you. You're not on my level just yet.
Right.
And I mean, Canelo know that this is the biggest fight Jamel has ever been in. So what he trying to put in his mind is, I ain't worried about you. You know what I mean? But he is worried because Charlos, they not sweet at all. They the kind of guys, they could hurt you in the first round, they could hurt you in the 12th round. And I mean, and he know that Jamel Charlo is not playing. So he doing things to put in Jamel Charlo mind that will frustrate him. You know what I mean? That'll make him think this guy, he disrespected me. He think I'm sweet. But Canelo not stupid. He know. You know what I mean? He know he got a real fight on his hands. So, you know what I mean? They're gonna get ready.
Yeah, I definitely been watching and paying attention to that. I ain't look at it like that. So more like what you saying is more psychological than anything, what he's trying to
He
do.
he did it to Caleb Plant. You know what I mean? He made Caleb Plant believe like this not your level because he knew Caleb Plant never fought nobody like that on that magnitude. And Caleb Plant, he showed that by questioning himself while he was in the ring, asking questions to Canelo while they was fighting.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, am I good enough and shit like that. It's always psychological. At any fight you in, it's gonna be psychological.
yeah, that's half the battle. Definitely half the battle. I think Jermell Charlo, though, I believe he has more confidence than Caleb Plant. Because
Yeah,
I just believe Jermell Charlo is that guy that believes, you know what I'm saying? He believes in his talent. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Caleb Plant, I like him, but you could see him questioning himself. And even when that little incident happened at the when he got cut, when they at the press conference, I believe that took something out of him too. You know what I'm saying? Started going through his head. But Jamel, I think if Jamel does win, do you see him staying at 168?
I think if Jamel win, I think he gonna take that win and he gonna go down to 160. I think he gonna just try to take over 160.
So you think he would just relinquish the titles and go down to 160? What do you think Jamal would do then? Do you think Jamal's gonna stay ever fight again?
I think Jamal, you know what I mean? Jamal seemed to have a lot on his mind, you know what I mean? And then when he do come back, I think it will be at 68. The thing is, right? People sometimes they be like, you know, the layoffs can get to you, and that's true. Layoff can get to you, but sometimes your name get bigger during the layoff because people wondering what's going on with you. So then when you come back, you know what I mean, if you get the right fight at the right time, you know what I mean, because all of these guys go through shit. You know what I mean? It's life. People think because you have money, you don't have problems. You got more problems when you got more money. You know what I mean? So all of these guys got shit going on in their lives. If Jamal come back and he catch somebody slipping, you know what I mean, that could be
Yeah,
perfect timing for his career. But if he come back and fight somebody, you know what I mean, where they rolling and they in shape and they not playing, you know what I mean, they could catch him slipping. So you know what I mean, it's always 50-50 thing.
yeah. And I just seen somebody just said something in the comments that I like. They said, you know, with Jamel already having a loss, he has that perspective that, you know, Caleb Platt didn't have at the time. He's not scared. He's not worried about losing his oath. So he's going in there, you know what I'm saying, with one thing on his mind, and that's getting Canelo out of there. You know, I think a lot of these guys, that's one thing about them with these O's. That's why we wasn't getting these fights for so long. But now it seems like everybody coming to their senses once Tank and Ryan Garcia fought and people seen the money they was able to make. Now it's a different ball game. People
Yeah.
realize, hey man, if I want to make the money, I got to get in there and fight somebody.
Yeah. And the thing is, what you gotta love about Jamel Charlo is he lost he lost to Tony Harrison, right? And then he took the rematch and went and got his shit back.
Yeah,
And I mean,
yeah,
that's a fighter. That's a real fighter. And Canelo, you know, Canelo's a great fighter, but he got losses too. You know what I mean? He even got some controversial wins where we don't think he lost. I mean, where we don't think he won. So, you know what I mean? This is gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a great fight because Jamel Charlo ain't known he not known to play around with people, and Canelo is not known to play around with people. So it's gonna be a clash.
so definitely right. What about how do you see like the you know with the heavyweight division right now, Deontay Wilder and you know saying Ruiz, Andy Ruiz? I don't know. You think that fight gonna happen?
I don't think they're gonna put Ruiz in there with him because he gonna hurt Ruiz. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Deontay Wilder, no disrespect to anybody, but Deontay Wilder is still not he's not an average guy. You know what I mean? Even though he lost to Fury, to me, that's the only heavyweight in the world that can beat him. Anybody
yeah,
else, I think he gonna hurt. You know what I mean? And I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. I think he's still dangerous. You know what I mean? So anybody you put in there with him, he gonna hurt him. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
the heavyweight division to me is in a big jam because Usyk should be fighting either Wilder or Fury, but Fury it got some other shit going on. He holding the game up, and then Wilder, you know what I mean? Wilder just trying to see what's next so he can get back what's his.
right. And I think Fury, I really believe Fury beats Usyk. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but I don't think that it's gonna be that hard of a fight for him. I think Fury, man, you know, he's a big guy. I just don't see Usyk beating him.
yeah. He
So I don't
just
know what that's about.
when you get a guy who that big, 6'9", 300 pounds, but can box, you know what I mean? He gonna be hard for anybody. So I don't really see nobody beating him neither.
Yeah, yeah, I don't see. Yeah, right now I still think anybody at the heavyweight division is Fury, then Wilder. But you got Anthony Joshua and Dylan White. You know what I'm saying about the fight again. Do you still think Joshua has what it takes to beat him again?
Yeah, I think Joshua is in a good spot right now. He training with a trainer that he believes in, and that's always a good thing. His energy is different. He around a squad of fighters who are all taking the game serious, so he learning a lot. And I feel like he gonna look better each fight. You know what I mean? The more he get to fight guys who I don't want to say is not on his level, but they can't compete with him. I think he gonna get better and better and better.
Right. Definitely. And speaking of trainers, Derek James definitely is a great trainer. But what do you think? You seen the Frank Martin fight. How do you feel about, you know what I'm saying, the way Frank Martin looked in his last fight?
I mean, a trainer, what people don't get about trainers, sometimes they act like a trainer is the controller to a PlayStation. It's not the
Mhm.
same. You know what I mean? You're not hitting buttons and then the guy's reacting. Sometimes a fighter will get in the ring and they'll have shit going through their mind that they'll never talk to you about. And then when you get to the corner, you saying to them like, yo, what's wrong? Or what's going on? You know what I mean? I want you to do this and that. But in their mind, they got something else going on. You know what I mean? So a
Right,
trainer can't, he only have but so much control. You know what I mean? Once you in that ring and you in heat, you know what I mean? It's hard to really push the buttons. You know what I'm saying? He can only get you ready for the fight. He can't fight for you. So Derek James, I felt like did his job. Frank Martin, I felt like did his job. Frank Martin just didn't look like a star because I feel like the experience isn't on his side. The age is on his side. Yeah, he's a mature fighter, but he hasn't been through enough wars to go in there and actually, you know what I mean, understand who he is as a fighter. He know he has skills, but I felt like this fight he tried to go out there and look to bully the guy, and then right away the guy didn't give him what he wanted. Frank didn't look bad. He just didn't look like a star.
right. I agree with that. Now, if you take Frank, Keyshawn, Cruz, and Schofield, out of those four guys, you know, being they're all young or whatever, right now, who do you see? How do you see that playing out? Who do you think is leading the pack between those four?
Well, you talking about Isaac Cruz, right?
I'm talking about no, Andy Cruz, not Isaac,
Oh,
not Pitbull, but
Andy Cruz. Oh,
Andy
Andy
Cruz,
Cruz.
yeah. Andy
Oh,
Cruz, Keyshawn, Schofield, and Frank Martin.
well, I think it will end up being Andy Cruz and the Keyshawn. They're out of that group. They're the guys who have the best experience. You know what I mean, with the amateurs and stuff like that. Um, we know that Andy Cruz a gold medalist and Keyshawn silver medalist. And we know they both got a chip on their shoulder about each other. So I think it would come down to those two. Who would win? I don't know. Keyshawn, Keyshawn looks good in the ring, but Keyshawn, I could tell he one of those guys got a lot going through his mind because he in there having fun and then he in there fighting, but then he back to having fun, and then he in there fighting. He got to learn how to control himself and pace these guys out. At the same time, Andy Cruz is learning still how to turn his punch over. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah, he got fast hands and he got good skills, but he's still learning how to really sit on his punch. So I think Keyshawn got him in that aspect of turning the punch over, but then I think Andy Cruz got Keyshawn when it comes to the skill set. Like he know what he want to do all the way through the fight.
right. Because I was telling, you know, some people got mad. I had commented on a post about Andy Cruz, and I even made a video about him. I said he did look good, but I still could see like the amateur style a little bit. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing you were saying about Foster turning his punches over. He hasn't learned how to sit down on his punches yet. And people was acting like I was taking discrediting him. I said, no, I'm just telling you what I see. You know what I'm saying? I think he's gonna be a pretty good pro. Uh, but he does need to learn how to sit down on his punches. That's the difference right now between him and Keyshawn that I see.
Yeah, because listen, God, what people need to understand, right? If I hit you in your head over 100 times and you don't go out, I definitely need to work on my punch. You know what I mean? If I hit you to the body at least 100 times and you don't go out, I definitely need to work on my punch. So yeah, the guy he was fighting was very tough and never been stopped. But you know what I mean, you catching him on the end of all of that. So if anybody should have stopped him, it should have been Andy Cruz. But they'll let you know he's still, you know what I mean, he still got to get used to being a pro. I mean, there is a
Right.
difference. Boxing is probably like it's probably 4 levels, 4 or 5 levels of boxing. You know what I mean? And and then the pro level, it's another. Actually, I'm gonna say 8 levels because then it's another 8 levels, and I mean it's another 3 levels in the pros. You know what I mean? So it's a lot you got to go through. You know what I mean? Before we start talking about all these big fights, to be honest. And Andy Cruz got some learning to do. He can fight. He can box his ass off. He know how to score points. He know how to get his hands off. But he gotta learn how to, when the times get tough, to sit down and turn that shit over.
Right. I know since you've been in the ring and you know about contracts and you've dealt with boxing contracts, and I've heard different opinions on this. Do you feel like it was a low ball offer from Devin Haney to Shakur Stevenson?
I mean, in that situation, it's tough to say because everybody was just listening to the 25%, but 25% of what? You know what I mean? That was never spoken about. We don't know what
Right.
25% of what. Now, if it was 25% of a low number, then yeah, that was a low ball. But then if it was 25% of something good, you know what I mean? Shakur may have missed out on that fight. But I'm not worried about that fight because I feel like uh Devin Haney was going to 140 anyway, and he's gonna let
Right.
Shakur have 35 and deal with Tate, and then whoever win between Tate and Shakur when they finally fight, I think we'll have to fight Devin Haney at 140 if everything go right.
Okay. So you thinking that we'll get the Tank and Shakur fight before we get Devin fighting either one of them?
Absolutely,
All right. Yeah. Cause I ain't never look at it like it. I wonder what Tank would be his next move, and a lot of people saying that Pitbull Cruz is one of the reasons he didn't fight Shakur Stevenson is because he's trying to get a big payday again from Tank. Like I said before, I really don't want to see the Pitbull Cruz and Tank Davis fight again. I feel like Tank beat him with one hand, and I don't think it was close. Some people do, but I just think because Tank didn't knock him out, people are saying it was a close fight.
yeah.
Uh, what do you think Tank should do next? Would you want to see that fight again?
I mean, if it had to happen, I wouldn't be mad because he did give him a good fight the first time. But what I saw in the reports is some negotiations between him and Chris Colbert.
Oh yeah, that I've heard that. And Tank beat the man that beat Chris Cole, Hector Garcia.
Yeah,
So yeah, Tank, and he looked real good doing it.
yeah,
And from what I heard, Chris Colbert wants to go back. He said he was never fighting at 135 no more. He was going back to 130. But when it comes to Tank and the money you can make, he can make you stay still for a minute. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Yeah. Yes. How do you see that fight between him and Chris Colbert playing out?
I think it'll be a good fight for about 4 or 5 rounds, and I think Tank can start to get to him and stop him in the 8th round. I think I don't
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Colbert really would like that pressure. I don't think he would really, what I mean, be able to deal with that punch. And then Chris Colbert is a pretty good fighter, but he don't work hard like the other guys. That's why
Right.
that's why he's been through the shit he's been through with the game. He don't work hard like a Tank Davis or Shakur Stevenson. So I got Tank stopping Chris Colbert in the 8th round.
Me too. I definitely got him stopping him. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that Chris Colbert lost his last fight. You know what I'm saying? I thought that it was a bad decision. What was the guy name? Rio,
Yeah,
the guy that he fought. Yeah, I believe he lost that fight. I believe he got a gift decision. And like you said, you know more about him than I do, as far as how he trains and stuff. But I don't. I like you said. I can see Tank getting him out of there. You know what I'm saying? I see him getting him out of there in the 6th or 7th round. Like I said, I don't think Chris can take a punch. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? He definitely. From when I seen him when Ryan was touching him, it looked like those punches was affecting him. So maybe 130 is a better weight class for him or whatever, because he looked better at 130 than he does
Yeah,
now.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, what is Hector Garcia? Does he still hold the belt at 130?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay, because I know I haven't heard anything. Man, George Camp, I got to get to this. George Campos is, I thought he looked terrible. I thought he lost. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Did you watch that fight?
yeah. I watched the whole fight. I felt like Kambosos got picked apart. He didn't establish his jab at all. He kept reaching with that right hand. He got in there a few times, but I felt like Maxie Hughes was just too composed, too smart, too
Yeah.
sharp. You know what I mean? And he really was. He did everything he was supposed to do except knock him out, and they definitely robbed him.
Yeah, they definitely robbed that man. And I was talking to BVO yesterday, and I was telling him I hate when they do that to somebody because what you done to Max is, you might have took away a great payday for him.
Yeah,
Because that win would have, set him up for something bigger. But now you got George who then got a good decision, and they better keep him far away from Shakur Stevenson as possible. And you seen Shakur confront him after the fight, and they were telling they were telling him, man, go fight Devin, go fight Devin. So you can tell they don't want that fight. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that Shakur get an opportunity to get in there with George?
I think that's the exact fight that's going to happen because they that was the reason for burning Maxie. You know what I mean? The whole, if you think about it, right? They like to build these fights around names. Now, Maxie Hughes, we don't know him. We didn't know him really until the other night. And now that Kambosos is so-called back in position, all right, we're gonna make him and Shakur. You know what I mean? That way Shakur get to show his shit again. You know what I mean? Make some good money. But even though it's not the fight he want, he's still moving up in the ranks. And then when the belts release themselves, when Devin Haney released the belts, I feel like it'd be then like Shakur and Jermaine Ortiz or somebody like that fighting for the belts.
Yeah, Jermaine Ortiz,
Or Lomachenko.
Lomachenko. Do you think Jermaine Ortiz? I mean, how do you think he would fare against Shakur Stevens?
I think he'd give him a hell of a fight. Jermaine Ortiz is confident because he gave Lomachenko a great fight. He's a big kid for 135 pounds. He trained hard, and he bring a lot to the table. I don't know. I don't think he'll beat Shakur, but I think he'll give him a good fight.
Right, right. Definitely. I just see Shakur, man, dominating Kambosos. I just see him beating him. I mean, beating him bad. I just think, Kambosos George he doesn't make any adjustments in the ring. When I watch him, like you said, he don't got his jab isn't there, and he don't make good adjustments in his head. Man, is there to be. I mean, he don't got good head movement either. So I just
Yeah,
don't think that's not gonna be a good fight. But for Shakur, it's just another name for him to put on his belt. That's how I see that. That's how I see that playing out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like
uh, do you think after the Francis Ngannou fight, do you think Tyson Fury knocks him out? I think Tyson Fury probably gonna stop him. What do you think?
um. One thing I could say, them MMA dudes, they be used to getting kicked, elbow, knee. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Shit like that. Tyson Fury is a giant, though. I think he put a beating on him before he do stop him, if he stop him. But then that guy's strong, man. So
yeah,
so I honestly I can't really say. I never seen that guy in a boxing match. I don't know what he's capable of as far as boxing, but he is strong. He is a big guy. But Tyson Fury is a monster. So I mean, I don't know.
yeah. I think even if he doesn't knock him out, I think it would be like a stoppage where the ref, the corner has to stop it. Just from I see Tyson Fury really being able to, put hands on him. I don't think it's gonna be. It might not be a knockout, but like I said, but it's definitely gonna be that kind of stop where he gets him. Somebody has to stop it.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna hold you up too much longer. Uh, like you
No, we
said,
good.
I know you think you're not gonna be in Vegas, man. I'm gonna be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be live. So, man, enjoy your day, brother. And I appreciate you, man. It's always an honor to talk to you, man. Like I said, you are the Michael Jordan of boxing talk, man. I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn something. You know what I'm saying? And we all appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing. And ain't no, I just see your channel growing and growing. And I'm waiting on your podcast, man. I can't wait till you start. Whenever your podcast comes, you definitely got to get your podcast because people want to hear you talk.
I appreciate that.
All right,
Thank you.
bro. Have a blessed day, man. Thank you.
You too.
All right.